You are listening to the audio zine of Necronomicon, a horror fanzine based in the UK. It is a personal journal of every horror film that I, Necro Neil, have watched since the start of the fanzine in 2001. Growing up in the 80s, an era of video renting, I have a passion for watching older horror films, but I will write about modern horror films that I've also been watching. Each review is written in a conversational tone directed right at the reader, full of personal anecdotes and humour. Necronomicon is part horror fanzine, part autobiography. It's a love letter to the horror genre that the reader committed mail fraught to read. Welcome to episode 3. I'm obviously Necro Neil, and look who we've got back again. It's Necro royalty Leanne.
Hiya! Hi everyone. Glad to be back.
You've just unofficially become my co-host now.
I love it. Well, that's kind of what I was hinting for the past year or so. People get into their 30s and they're like, the thing you're supposed to do these days is to have your own podcast. That's just the rite of passage, that is. So how was the response to the last podcast that we did together?
Hey, it was really good. People really enjoyed it. They thought it was a nice insight into our friendship. It was just quite fun to listen to. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. I mean, I've been trying to read out issues again, but get really bored and my voice gets knackered. But I mean, I would eventually like to do them all. Well, not them all, but just kind of the recent ones. But they're going to be slow to come out, I think, because I enjoyed doing that last one with you. So, you know, it's more of a fun listen.
Maybe you just need to run them through one of those sort of like Stephen Hawking's machines and just let them speak it out for you.
Like one of those YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. So I had a really good time doing the last one with you, and that's what I was about to actually say, is how many you had to edit out. I should have done a deep cut of
I know, I wish I would have compiled them all together and just sent you it, because there were just so many with me. There were so many likes, like this, like, so it was all about likes. But yeah, your it just got to the point where I could see where an was coming out, because it was kind of the wave would change, and I was like, that looks like an so cut that out really easy.
Well, how long do you think it all sort of accumulated to, in terms of how many there was? Do you think it was a good 25% of the things we recorded?
I'd say it was a good, like, 15%
Fucking hell.
of
Yeah.
We recorded about an hour and a half, and then it went just over an hour, so it was all those likes and had to be cut out.
They just didn't make the cut. They just didn't make the cut. They weren't good enough.
Nope, not good enough. So I cut them all out. So we had an idea in doing an episode about just kind of the origins of Necronomicon and how it's kind of evolved and just general fanzine stuff, because I wanted to do an episode about that, but I thought if I'm just talking to myself for about an hour, I'm going to feel like a mental. So I thought, well, if I get Leanne on board, then at least there'll be some banter and it'll be interesting rather than just my monotonous voice.
Disclaimer, we shouldn't really promise that it's going to be any good.
But we're going to give it a go anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay. Right.
Like every good superhero, I guess everyone has an origin story. So what is your origin story?
What, just kind of in terms of necro or horror? Or...
Horror. So how did you get into horror? What's your earliest horror memory?
My earliest horror memory was sat on my dad's knee watching Aliens. But I imagine I was about 5 or something like that. There was just kind of a background noise of horror films going on in our house. So I just kind of got eased into it and started appreciating horror films as I went along.
Aliens is a good one to start with, I think. I don't know about you, but when we look at sort of kids these days, I'm going to use that phrase a lot, kids these days, because I'm old enough to do so, they just don't watch horror films like we used to. Like, growing up, it was just like a normal thing, and really, things like Aliens, and particularly for me, like Predator and things like that.
Yeah.
They weren't horror films. They were just a bit gory, and our parents used to let us watch them at a really young age. But you never hear of kids these days watching horror films like we did. Like, it just would never happen now.
I think at that age, I don't know if it was just that kind of era where it was almost like you had starter horror films. You had like these films that would ease you into the horror genre, like Aliens and Predator, and where there's a lot of action going on and big names like Arnie. There weren't scary films. You were kind of more involved with, you know, seeing the crazy effects and monsters, and, you know, it was all kind of high action stuff. So you're kind of prepped, I think, for the more horror stuff.
Yeah.
Kids today, I imagine they just dive in straight away to horror films, I suppose because it's more accessible now.
I Spit on Your Grave and things like that. Straight into the hard stuff.
No, but I was in the supermarket recently, you know, looking at the DVD top 10 and cheap horror films that they kind of lump into a section. And there was I Spit on Your Grave. All the modern ones, like all the modern new Spit on Your Grave. And I was like, fucking hell.
Wow.
It's a bit much.
It's a bit hardcore watching, isn't it?
Yeah, just a bit too much.
But we were supposed to be in this, like, you know, post-Me Too era. What we are watching rape revenge movies about, yeah.
Yeah, I thought we were in quite PC times, you know. I think people our age were kind of eased into horror, and we're kind of like, oh, I did like that film where, you know, there was some guts in it, and then you kind of...
I think as well, we had some really good child-friendly horror as well that sort of came out. I mean, like, there's some elements in the sort of Goonies. I know it's not exactly a horror film, but there's some elements in the Goonies that are quite spooky. Like, the whole pirate ship thing is really spooky. Mm-hmm. But also then there's, like, Little Monsters and stuff, you know, with Fred...
Oh, God, Little Monsters.
Fred Savage, which I know you've reviewed. I gave it a sort of second watch... Because as a kid, I loved that film. Thought it was great. And then gave it sort of another watch as an adult. And I think we both have very different opinions of an adult watching it. I mean, you hated it, didn't you?
I was just mortified watching it. I couldn't believe that I watched this as a child. And I suppose I didn't pick up on how paedophile it was. I can't believe that was a kid's film. I really can't, because there's some dark shit in that film.
I still really enjoyed it, but then there's like so there's films like that. So I think I'm trying to like rack my brains of if there's anything sort of similar. But I guess I'm not looking out for it. Kiddie kind of horror films, because then Goosebumps as well also had a series, and then Around the Twist had some spooky episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend who had Sky and stuff, and Nickelodeon had some good stuff like Eerie Indiana, and he had series like that where it was a bit kind of spooky. So you kind of, oh, well, I can deal with that kind of thing. And then your parents go, oh, okay, we'll show you this. And it's all really exciting. So fun. And I kind of liked all the special effects and how they were made. And then you kind of get hooked into certain actors and kind of get a bit completist about it. I think it was just in my teenage years I got really into going to charity shops and hunting down horror films, because I think around that time, late 90s, videos were going out and they weren't fashionable anymore. I mean, now they're all kind of collector's items, but they were really cheap to pick up, and I kind of go and look at the boxes and go like, God, this looks crazy, this looks stupid, I'm going to get this, it's only 20p. And then I'd be there watching it on my own going, oh, this is great, I'm having so much fun watching these, they're just daft. But yeah, so I just keep going to charity shops and markets and just buying a load of them. And
yeah, the hunt was always the best part, the hunt.
Oh yeah, definitely. I saw so many great shit films that way, and I think that kind of warps the kind of films that I really enjoy now, kind of ones that are a bit naff or campy. I think that's what led to Necronomicon, is doing that, because it was a hobby that I did on my own, because I didn't have any friends that were into films like that, so it was a very me thing to do and me time. But it just got to the point where I was watching these films and going, I wish I could tell my friends about these, I wish they would sit and watch them and appreciate them, but none of my friends were into them. They were just like, oh no, it looks shit, I'm not watching that.
What were they watching instead? What was their go-to movies when you went round to their houses?
Well, I had friends that were into like action films. I had a friend who was into more arty films, who you couldn't throw anything less lowbrow than like a David Lynch film at them, because they just poo-poo it, you know. But I just wanted to let them know in some way what I was getting up to on my own and what I got out of it.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, a fun thing to do would be to do a fanzine, because I used to do fanzines when I was a teenager, and that's kind of how you spread passion for things around. I used to do a lot of music fanzines, and people buying them would make people want to get into that kind of music more. So I thought, well, if I do this fanzine and then then I give it to these friends who won't watch these sort of films, and they'll read it and go, oh my god, yeah, this sounds great, or yeah, I get why you find it enjoyable, and some of them would be like, oh yeah, I'll watch that one with you. And I really like that, because I thought I'm spreading these lesser known horror films around and making people want to watch them and appreciate them. And so I thought, oh yeah, I'm onto a good thing here, and I'm really enjoying doing it, because it just gives me an excuse to go out to the charity shops more, or go to the market more, and it gives me a reason to just buy stacks of horror films.
Yeah, so they were feeding your habit, really, weren't you? So you turned like archivist to proper deep into the scene, hardcore.
Oh yeah, totally. Another reason was I dropped out of college when I was about 17. I had my first big breakdown around that time, so I kind of needed a hobby, needed something to occupy me.
Some sort of outlet.
Yeah, so I just thought, well, I used to do fanzines and really enjoy it. Maybe I should do that. And I just got given a computer, which was a total piece of shit. And I thought, oh yeah, I can use this. And then it was all about, I know someone who has a job who can like stay behind, can cheekily photocopy these things as well.
Nice.
So yeah, that's what I was doing.
That's really cool. What made you decide on your style in terms of decoupage of pictures in the background, and then just laying over sort of computer text on top of it?
The music fanzines I used to do, I mean, that was like in the mid-90s, and that's how everyone did fanzines. No one had crazy computer skills, and fanzines had always looked that way, cut and paste. When I first started doing fanzines, I type it all out on a typewriter, and I cut it all out. Just take things from magazines and put it all together, and just the process of just sticking these things together and being really precise about how it looks, and that's a fun element in itself. So as I went along and I saw fanzines change into looking more stylish and looking more like magazines, I thought, oh, fuck that. I kind of always want fanzines to look like they're from a really great time of fanzines.
Yeah.
I want people to be like, oh, this is just like the sort of fanzine I used to buy in the 90s as a teenager, So I think that goes along with the nostalgia of reading about old horror films.
Yeah. And it's almost just like the ethos of, especially the horror films we like to watch, people creating special effects out of just the most craziest things. And when you sort of look at how things are made, like old bits of rope and tyres and things like that, and just all painted red, and like if you look at like the end of The Fly, and it's just full of old Hoover parts and stuff like that. It
definitely ties into that old school DIY ethics.
I love the fact that you've kept it as well. So, when you send me sort of videos of the piece before you photocopy it all in, and you turn the pages and you can hear it creak just under all this sort of, I guess it's like PVA, is it?
Oh, good old Pritt stick.
Pritt stick.
Pritt stick.
Yeah, but you can hear it just crunch as you're turning the pages. It's just like proper old school.
Everything's just hard copy. Beforehand, I'll just do pages of collage of things that I've pulled from old horror magazines. I'll make pages of that. Then I'll print everything out, and then I'll stick them on top. Everything goes on in Pritt stick, because Pritt stick, when it dries, you can just tear it off again. So nothing is permanent, because the amount of times I'll be like, shit, I should have put another picture in there. So then, I've got a full fanzine without any gaps at the back. I mean, in the beginning, all I could use for pictures were just things from magazines, because, I didn't have the internet. So now I like to put some VHS cover art for each review. But I like to find the VHS cover art of the one that was released in the UK, or one that I saw in the video shop of it.
Oh, I love VHS cover art. I think it's an art form in itself.
Some of them are just, mwah, they're so good. But then it became a thing with the front cover. I think I've always done that, where I cut out horrific words and collage them on the front cover. I think I've always done that. I think it got more crazy as it went along, because I kept being given words from people. People would be like, oh, I found you some good words, out of the Sun newspaper, or everything comes from Take a Break, and That's Life.
Yeah.
Because those women's magazines have got the most insane headlines that make them sound like something from a horror film. So out of context, they sound really horrific, but when you read the stories, it's nothing really to do with that. It's just like modern clickbait. So I like collaging all those together. It's only just been a recent thing where I make the whole back cover just those things, because some of them are so insane. I just want to lay them all out for people to go, oh, what story would that be about? I lost my leg in McDonald's and stuff like that.
Yeah, fantastic.
But it's kind of, oh great, Pookie, you've come alive. You're going to join in. Yeah, that kind of cut and paste style, people do like it. They kind of say it's got a nostalgic feel to it. But some people have gone like, oh, it looks like a total madman's put it together and it's so noisy to look at. And I thought, no, that's my job.
I love it.
That's what I want.
Never change. So you've never been tempted to change it then?
Oh, not at all. No way. I wouldn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I would never want it to look like a magazine or anything like that because that's boring. If I'm going to cast total shade. Fanzines these days are very well put together and very clean looking.
I always think they look a bit like university newspapers.
Yes, they do. They look like newsletters. But also fanzines are really highly priced these days as well. So you get something that looks like just like a basic newsletter and then it'd be like £4. And I'm like, fuck that. That's just taking the piss. You could buy like an actual magazine for that. You could buy like 4 take a breaks for that.
You can't measure your life in how many take a breaks you can buy. I tend to do the same with I'm like, oh well, I could buy 3 bags of chips with that. Like, yeah, that's how I measure my worth in life as well. So, but take a breaks is, I think, a lot worse. You should be ashamed.
Yeah, yeah, I should be. I'm just sucked in whenever I'm in the supermarket and I see the most torture porn sounding titles and I'm like, I've got to get it. Come on, 64p. Let's go for it. I know I'm going to be disappointed. I always try and keep them as low priced as well because back in my day, a quid was kind of the standard for a fanzine or even 50p. Back in the 90s, if anyone dared charge £2, no one would buy it. So I kind of like to keep to that old school thing as well.
I remember when you told me you were going to put your price up, I think it was by like 50p or something like that, and you were having this huge internal monologue. You was like, I just can't afford to not put it up, the print costs and things like that. So it's still at a loss, isn't it, when you do these?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, I had to put it up because, as you know, the print saga was absolutely ridiculous when I had to replace 2 printers in the space of 2 months. Obviously ink, it's like liquid gold these days as well. Printer ink is so expensive. So I hate the fact I charged £2, but that is even underpricing it. But I refuse to go over £2 because even I think that's too much.
I don't know, I think you get a lot of entertainment for £2, in my opinion, but...
Oh yeah, people are like, wow, this is only £2, and I like to absolutely pack it out with stuff, because, again, fanzines that I've read, not necessarily horror fanzines that I've read have been really good, but other types of fanzines are they're more kind of image-based rather than text-based. For me personally, I'm like, no, I want it absolutely rammed for like £2. I want a lot of entertainment out of it. Yeah. But it can't be helped, and I do lose money, but I rather it's more about spreading the word and giving people a bit of entertainment, really. It's stupid, the idea of making some money on a fanzine, to be honest.
Do you have your very first issue as well? Do you still have that somewhere? In terms of this sort of copy, stuck down PVA, or is it just disintegrated?
I got rid of every hard copy before issue 32. Because I just could not keep them. Because the hard copies are really thick.
Yeah.
They were all kind of fallen to bits. And I thought, well, I've scanned the actual copy to copy from. I don't need to keep it. So, I mean, it is quite sad, but, it is a lot of work.
What happened to it then? Did you just do a ceremonial bonfire? Or?
I think I just put them as is in the recycling, to be honest. Wow. Which is pretty sad thinking about them now. That's
pretty brutal. Because I've always said to you that it should go in like the V&A. They totally take it.
I've kept them since about 32, so I've still got all of them. But I think after about 10 issues, I'll probably start putting the hard copies in the recycling again. Or maybe somebody wants to give me a lot of money and I'll give them it. And then they can be free to run their own copies out or something.
Just... Last thing you need is a competitor. Selling them for like even less, so that someone with a cheaper printer to run. So for the nerds that are out there, what font are you using for NecroZine? Has it been the same one throughout? There's some proper font nerds out there, so I want to give them like deep cuts.
Honestly, I'm a font nerd as well. I mean, it used to be good old Times New Roman, I think, but when it came back, I was like, right, let's get back to the kind of typewritten old fanzine look. I'm not joking. I must have downloaded about 10 different typewriter fonts and then sat there writing Necronomicon over and over again and changing them all, and then just sat there going, and then cutting them out and then putting them on the front cover and going, no, that one's not quite right. And if I put that one in bold, maybe, yeah. So the one that I settled on for other recent ones is Hollywood Starfire. There you go.
Hollywood Starfire. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what they're getting at.
No, I don't. They've all got strange names. I wonder if the person that invented that font will ever come forward and go, cease and desist.
Oh yeah, because, you know, you really are just like a big threat to them.
No, actually, I might track them down and donate some money to them.
It started off, you create this because you wanted to get your friends more involved, watch the films with you. When did you decide to actually make it commercially available?
I used to go to Wakefield Market to get all the VHS tapes. And near that market was a comic shop called Judaica. The guy in there was really nice. And I told him about how I did this fanzine. And he was like, well, bring some in and I'll sell them for you. So I did. And whenever I'd go back to Wakefield, I'd pop in and he's like, oh yeah, they've been selling. So I was like, oh, this is great. So I did that. And then when I moved to Leeds, I got talking to the guy in Forbidden Planet about it, because he used to do a fanzine, and he's like, oh, bring some in. And I took in about 10 or something, and like within a couple of weeks, he was like, oh, they've all sold, bring some more in. So
wow.
I think that was like the first couple of issues. So I was like, wow, this is great. So I brought some more in, and then he was like, I want to order 100 from you. And I want to distribute them throughout all the Forbidden Planets in the UK. So, I mean, that was quite shocking. And then he just kept asking for more, and it was really exciting. So, I think that's probably how you found it.
Yeah.
I mean, then I got really good friends with the guy in OK Comics, and he asked for some, and he would keep selling them as well. So, yeah, they just kind of spread round. And I was like, I can't believe other people are reading this, because I've always written it like for my friends, so it's always in the kind of language that me and my friends use. It's never in the thought of, oh well, this has to go up to a wide amount of people, I better use certain language or something.
Better turn it down a bit or make it a bit more popularist.
Yeah, so I always found it strange that people were enjoying how that was written, because to me it was kind of, oh, it's a bit personal, but people are actually enjoying it.
I reckon people enjoyed the personal element of it. The style was definitely what drew me in. The content was what got me there, but the style was definitely what kept me buying.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about films in a everyman way. I didn't want to be using fancy terms or anything like that. Kind of reading film magazines, and I was like, a lot of this language is very off-putting. You're not telling me the good stuff. You're not telling me about some insane scene in it that I want to see. So I thought, I'll write it how I would sell it to my friends. So it was really nice. It made me feel good that how I talked and how my passion for things was really appreciated by other people. So I thought, okay, even though it feels a bit like they're reading my diary or something, I thought, well, I'll keep writing it like that.
Did you ever find out where it sold the most? If it went to loads of Forbidden Planets? See, I didn't know it went to loads of different ones. I just thought it was a Leeds thing.
I can't remember, but I think it just did very well in Leeds, I think. It got to a point where the guy was saying, this is outselling Fangoria in here.
I love that.
So just keep bringing them in.
What was that like? You were like hearing that?
I'd just like, yeah, I'm great.
All right, big Ed.
No, actually I thought, well, it's £1 and Fangoria is like £5 back in the day.
Yeah, it was really expensive back in the day.
But the thing is, when I was writing about these films like Evil Dead and American Werewolf and films like that, to me, because it was only me watching them and I didn't have friends who watched them, I thought I was the only person that watched these films. I didn't realise that Evil Dead was actually a big film. So people were buying it because obviously Leeds has got a big student population, and there's probably students who love those kind of films, to sit with their friends and watch them. So they were probably buying them because actually these films, they were a lot more famous than I actually thought. I was really naive in the beginning.
I think as well because, like you say, Fangoria was really expensive, but was also very American.
Yeah.
So I think that probably made a big difference. Also, British humour is totally different, especially when it comes to horror. But I also think, as well, Fangoria was starting to look at more modern films, and as we've discussed before, I might be biased, but we just don't think they're as good as they were. So
no.
I think it wasn't as interesting to me to read about the newer stuff. I'd read about it in Fangoria, I'd be like, oh, that sounds really good. The gore looks really good, and then I'd rent it, and it would be such a letdown. But with the older films, I never felt that. Reading the recommendations in your fanzine, I never felt that. So even when you said that this film was shit, I still really enjoyed it because it was shit. Whereas modern films are just shit. Did you ever feel like you need to stick like a lolly on it or anything like that? Do you remember when magazines used to always have like a really cheap lolly on the front as well?
I don't know. I don't think I ever attempted anything like that.
Should have done. You should do a Christmas issue.
I can't afford it. I can't afford a lolly. I should do, shouldn't I? Make it really, really bulky so it drives the postage up.
So when did it migrate onto sites like Etsy? So when do you still sell it as a physical copy anywhere, or is it all just online now?
I only sell it on Etsy now, and I think it's because of my nomadic lifestyle. I've kind of lived all over, so I thought it was the best place to put it on Etsy. Put it on 2010, I think, and that's kind of where it's really thrived on there, because it goes everywhere over the world now, which I find really nice.
Where has it gone?
70% of people who buy it are from America.
Wow. Which
I find really odd. I mean, I've messaged some people from America who've bought it. When it kind of really kicked off again, I did ask some people, where have you heard of this? People just said, well, I just put fanzine, horror, see what comes up in Etsy. I always thought, how does this British sense of humour translate to people overseas? And basically, I was really naive thinking that people wouldn't get it. But people in America have said, well, America's always had imported Monty Python and the young ones and Bottom. They really find it funny, like that kind of dry, irreverent kind of humour. They said, no, it totally translates well. I thought the people who didn't get this sense of humour must think I'm just such a horrible dickhead.
Yeah, really mean and nasty.
Yeah. They must think, why is this guy writing this? He hates everything. But no, but people have said, no, we totally get it. You're just being bitchy and just kind of sarcastic, and but you do genuinely love all these things. But obviously, some stuff does piss you off. But you just want to kind of have fun writing about it in an angry way. But no, it goes everywhere. It goes Germany, France, Belgium, kind of around that area. It seems like it's a very grapevine thing. If someone runs a fanzine, buys my fanzine, then they tell all their fanzine friends, and there'll be like periods of time where there'll be loads of orders all at once. You ask one of them, they're like, no, this has been passed to me and it's been passed around, and I've got to get another copy of it because, this guy's got it, and then he'll come back and go, oh, I want to get more of it. So, yeah, it's great. It's really nice.
Awesome. It's really, really great.
People have just got really invested as well, just kind of in the whole personal thing. But I mean, people back in the day who used to buy the physical copies of it in shops still buy it. And people, when I resurrected Necronomicon recently, people messaged me and went, oh my God, I can't believe you're still doing this. And it's great, it's come back. And some people from back in the day who used to buy it from shops are still around and buy it off Etsy. So.
And do you find that you get lots of repeat customers? If someone buys it once, they buy it again and again?
Oh yeah, definitely. The same people buy it. There's quite a few repeat customers where I'm like, right, I'll get one from them soon and order. So yeah, it's nice.
It's nice.
Keep coming back.
Yeah, this loyal fan base.
Yeah, it's nice when someone buys one randomly and then next week they'll just buy them all. And I'm like, oh, well, they must have liked it then to just buy them all. It's one of the reasons why I can't reprint all of them anymore, because otherwise I'd go insane trying to print that many. So I've got to rein it in.
You keep it like a really exclusive limited editions. I
redid issue 32 because I had this idea of revamping each issue and going backwards. But it was just so much work. And I thought, well, that's kind of really in the past because that was from 2015. So I think at the end of this year I'll retire that issue, and maybe sometime next year I might retire 33. I might kind of retire some as they go along, I think. Otherwise, I'm going to be at issue 50 and I've got to reprint like 20 issues, and it's like, can't keep on top of it.
No, definitely not. I do quite like the exclusivity of it. And again, it keeps the fanzine ethos, doesn't it? Like it's not supposed to be something that you preserve and keep.
Oh, yeah. There was someone who got in touch with me recently to buy some, and they went, oh, we've always been missing issue 31. Have you still got a copy of it? We've got all the rest, but we've always missed 31. We missed out. And I was like, I don't want to reprint it. It's old. It looks shit. It's got too many bad, horrible memories attached to it. But then I found an old printed off copy of it, and I went, have it. There you go.
Yeah.
I hate the idea of someone not having a complete of anything.
Yeah.
So I just said, there you go, and I threw it in with some recent stuff that they bought.
Did they love it? Did they come back to you?
Oh yeah, they love it. They're really nice. They kind of send me messages over so often.
You ever thought about doing a special edition of the first issue?
No, because I read it recently and I was like...
I can't remember anything about the first issue. I'm pretty sure I probably read it, because I remember when I bought one, and then I went back the very next weekend and just bought the rest that they had, any of the back issues they had.
I think the first one was really kind of... I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I kind of did things where I did lists of things and kind of quirky articles about things, and I didn't really do that many reviews. I think it didn't really come into what it is now until about maybe issue 10, so anything kind of previous to that, I don't think they're that good.
You'd rather just let it die.
Yeah, I mean, there is some good stuff in there, like the longer reviews are really good, I think, but otherwise I think it's what I would like consider as filler. You know, kind of going, oh, here's an article about, I don't know, David Cronenberg, and here's a list of all his films, and here's a list of melting films. And
It's a good list, that, though. I love a good melting film.
yeah, I know you do. But it wasn't selling the weird films that I wanted it to. I don't want to reprint them because I'm a bit... I mean, I was like, I don't know, I was in my early 20s. I'm like 39 now, I had to think about it. So, you know, I was very young and some of it's a bit cringy, so...
So tell us about the process of creating an issue then. I'm guessing it all starts with looking at the list and then what films you have available. So
Well, it's a combination of what's on the parents list and just films that I've found along the way of finding those films. Also just what mood I'm in. Obviously just watching them. Sometimes I take notes because some of these films, if you look them up online, there's not even a synopsis or anything. So I kind of feel like I have to kind of plot, oh, there's this character in it, that's their name, and then they do this, and then this happens, and oh, there's this really fucked up bit. But otherwise, I don't take any notes. I like to try and review them the next day whilst it's fresh in my head. So I try and get a big list going of all the reviews and edit it. Then I pass them on to my wife, Kathy, to edit because she's looked at past issues and gone, fucking hell, you don't make any sense.
is it like grammar and stuff like that, or is it just in general just doesn't make any sense?
It's just grammar and just run-on sentences and it's just madness. It's, oh God, especially those early ones. So I've recently got her to edit them and I kind of get maybe about 12, 13 reviews and I'm like, right, that's probably enough for an issue. And I'm still using Microsoft Word 98.
Wow.
I just can't break away from it. Whenever I've tried, I get too lost on it. It takes too long. So I've stuck to the classic.
As someone who works in cybersecurity, I'm not saying anything apart from...
So I put them into columns, print them out, got all these pre-made pages of collage stuff. And obviously I just organise it on pages. The last couple of pages are a nightmare because I've got to make sure it all fits to the end. If one doesn't quite fit, I'll be like, well, I'll write this other review that I know is going to fit. I like to print them in order of what I've been watching them in as well, because I like to keep things chronological. Sometimes near the end they're not, just so they can fit. And then the last thing that I always do, I do the introduction because maybe something's happened in the interim whilst I've been making that. Front cover I do very last and piddle about with where I want to put the words and picture I want. It gets fiddled about with on the scanner until I go crazy making sure it all fits. But this is the really backward thing that I do. Once it's scanned, I have the image and then I put it in Microsoft Word, insert the image, and then I kind of stretch it so it fits an A4 page.
Bloody hell.
To the point, to the millimetre of sometimes I have to kind of crop the edges off so it fits. And then I put them in like the pages kind of 1, 3, 7, like that. Then I make another one. And I do the same with the even numbers. And then I can print off those as one side, flip the pages, print off that side. It's mad. It's so backward.
I reckon people are probably screaming right now going, what the hell are you doing? Wow.
I know.
That is like the most difficult way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm just an absolute maniac.
You must really hate yourself. You must really, really hate yourself.
I do, yeah. It's like, because I've always done it that way, and I know I could do it easier, but I'm stubborn, so I don't do it. I think I genuinely enjoy being mad about everything, including putting that together. But yeah, it's terrible. But I mean, I used to just take the hard copy to a photocopier's, get them to do it. But whenever I'd get the stack back, I'd be like, they've cut that bit off, oh, that bit's too dark. Whereas now that I've got my own printer and I can absolutely tailor it to how I want it to look, you know, get it perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do get perfectionist about something that looks so chaotic. I've ruined it for you, haven't I?
No, it just proves that there's a lot of definitely blood, sweat and tears that goes into that thing. Jesus Christ. It would have been fine, you know, back in 2000 at GCSE IT. I would have just said, yeah, I guess that's one way of doing it. But nowadays, I don't know.
I know, I like to be in insane control. I know it's crazy. I'm sure there's an easier way of doing it.
There definitely is.
It's like when they do like fanzine conventions and workshops, and they're going about, oh, it's really easy to make a fanzine. If I ran one, everyone would be like, fuck that, I'm not doing a fanzine.
Well, they'd be like, well, how the hell am I going to get a copy of Word 2000? Sorry, was it 1998, did you say? Or
yeah.
2009. Ridiculous. You've had guest writers in the past as well. How's that gone? And what was the reasoning behind it?
Oh, like you?
Not just me. You've had other people as well.
Well, I've had you, because obviously I know exactly how you would write and what you would write about. So I think that's perfect. I mean, I've had friends, close friends, who have written stuff for me, you know, kind of appreciate the things that I appreciate about a film. So I'm always happy for them to write stuff, but I think they've kind of got to the point where they're like, well, I think it's your fanzine and how you write it is a certain way. And But I mean, maybe in about the 20s, I'd get randos writing and going, oh, I'll write you a review. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they'd make me a review and I'd print it and people would just be like, skim that. Couldn't bothered.
Too long to read, yeah.
But they send me these reviews in and then they just fuck off. You know, it's like, you just want something printed. And if fanzine that you've never read, what's the point? Again, that was going to be a thing. If I did redo all the back issues, I would have just taken all that shit out. I would have kept in the ones by my friends because they're kind of part of the whole story. But otherwise, I remember there was this woman who wrote me this review. I don't give a shit if she heard this. But she, like, honestly, it was about 4 fucking pages long.
All right, okay. So that's a lot of real estate.
Yeah. Jeez, I have to, you know, pay for ink, print that. And it went on for about 4 pages about her going to the cinema to see a film, and she described what she was wearing. It was absolutely mad. I was just printing it going, why have I agreed to do this?
I don't remember that. So, like, that probably was just me skipping, so what a waste of paper.
People went, oh, I skimmed that bit. And I was like, oh, yeah, shouldn't have put that in. But I was kind of being a bit of a pushover around that time, I think. But no, I wouldn't do that now, unless I really knew that person. I know that they really get it and they've read it for a long time. But no, I think people kind of go, oh, well, actually, it's your voice in that, so I don't want things interrupting that.
So there was a hiatus for a little while. Do you want to talk about that?
I suppose so. Yeah, I think it was around issue 32, 2015. I kind of drove myself into the ground doing it. I mean, it got to the point where I was watching too much to review and I had this massive backlog. And around that time, I was severely mentally ill. And that just kind of was one of those many things that chipped away at me. And I was just trying to keep on top of it. And I became very obsessed about it, along with loads of other things. It just got to the point where I ended up being sectioned. And I just had to stop. And I thought, right, Necronomicon's got to stop, because it's one of those things that is driving me into the ground. I don't have to do this. It's not my job. It's just a hobby. And, you know, I was getting to the point where I wasn't enjoying watching films because I was thinking, oh, I've got to review this.
Well, that's what I noticed around about that time, that it just wasn't fun for you anymore. Like, you know, because we message each other all the time talking about, you know, what we've been watching and things like that. And it just became like a job for you. And I just remember you saying, like, it's just not any fun anymore. And I think some of that as well was you felt kind of a little bit obligated to watch more modern films as well, which obviously just aren't as fun in general. And you were just struggling to find the joy in the reviews you were doing.
I think it's because I used to... Shut up. I was going to film festivals and seeing a lot of modern films, and at these film festivals I would talk to the people that made films. So I felt like I had to say some nice things about these films, even though I thought they were not great. A lot of times I felt like I was editing myself and I wasn't actually writing what I wanted to write about certain films. I felt obligated to review every film that I'd see at festival to make it all equal. So I wasn't actually spending time watching the films that I wanted to watch and that I enjoyed. And it got to the point where I just felt like I was a critic, you know? So I just wasn't enjoying it. I'd kind of made things a lot more stressful than I should have. Like, there was no point in making it that stressful. It was kind of my own doing. You know, I'd kind of wound myself up to that point. So that's kind of one of those things where I was like, right, I need a total reset. And I just thought, I can't continue this anymore. I'm going to have to just go, no more of that. It was sad that I had to end it. And I thought, I'm not going to do it ever again. I think that's part of who I was and how I used to function, being so obsessed about doing things a certain way. So I just thought, well, that's that. I had fun doing it. Oh, well. But then I kind of started thinking about it again, and I found loads of reviews that I'd written that I never printed. And I read them, and it was almost like someone else had written them. Because I was kind of, around that time of being really mentally ill, I kind of just didn't remember too much of what I was doing. So when I read these reviews, I was like, these are really good. Because they were reviews of older things. And I kind of thought they were really funny, and I kind of went, I was actually really good at this. Because when I was ill, I was thinking that I was really shit as well at doing it.
So you were kind of clouded, weren't you, like by your own sort of negative self-worth, I guess.
Yeah. So I read those reviews and I was like, these are really good. I feel a bit sad that they didn't get out. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do a little mini issue for friends, because, you know, they might appreciate it. It's just something to do, you know, it'd be a bit of fun. So I did that, and then people started coming out of the woodwork again, going, oh, I've heard that you've been doing Necronomicon again. I was like, no, I'm just doing this one. And, you know, friends really liked it. They were really excited about it. So I was like, oh, I'll put a few on Etsy for people who used to buy it.
Yeah.
And then more people bought it, and were kind of sending me messages going, oh, I can't believe you brought this back. Oh, it's so good. We've been waiting for years. And it was like, fucking hell. People actually liked it. Because I got to the point where I thought, well, nah, people aren't enjoying this.
Yeah, I remember that whole period, and I thought it was the right decision. I was gutted when you had to end it, but you needed some time to yourself to be yourself again. I think you'd kind of lost sight of that, and so while I was really sad that it had to end, I think it kind of came back stronger. Yeah. And you needed to take that time.
Yeah, I just needed a break and to kind of sort myself out and work out what I wanted to do myself. But yeah, so that one doing pretty well. I kind of started going, oh, it'd be quite good telling people about this film. And then I found myself writing again, and I was like, oh, you've tricked yourself. Because like in that issue that I kind of, which was just the compilation of leftover stuff, I just said, oh, I think this is just going to be a one-off. I don't think I'm going to do anymore. And I just jinxed it and ended up doing more. And then I ended up doing more. I got really excited about films again because before that I felt like I couldn't watch horror films because there was still that bit of going, oh, you have to review this, and it stressed me out.
You couldn't just enjoy it.
I was still kind of warped, so whenever I watched a horror film there was always a bit of anxiety there, even though I didn't have to review it. But then I kind of started really enjoying horror films again, and one of the big things that changed things was watching Hereditary. And absolutely fall in love with that film and wanting everyone to know about it. I wanted everyone to know how much I loved it, what I got out of it. So that's when I did issue 34, and I was like, right, I'll tell people about that. And it kind of just opened me up again for loving horror films. So I wanted to write more, and then I've just been pumping them out because I've just been watching so many now. It's just really exciting. But I always have a thing in my head going, I do not have to review every single film I watch. You can have a break. It's up to you.
Yeah, you've definitely got to be kinder to yourself and take that pressure off. And
yeah, I'm trying to set boundaries for myself to not drive myself into the ground, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of boundaries, you made the decision recently that you're not going to do as many modern films. You're going to focus more on what you love.
Again, I've jinxed myself. In every introduction that I do, I always make an announcement that I then fall back on. The last issue I said, I'm not going to do any new issues for a while because I'm trying to get through this list. And then for 31 nights of horror leading up to Halloween, I kind of went, let's watch modern horror films every night rather than old ones. And now I've got loads of films I could talk about. So there will be a new one coming up.
So you definitely the unreliable narrator then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what's the future of the fanzine then?
I don't know. Just keep doing it how it's been done for all this time until I get bored of it again. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I mean, I just only recently obviously started this podcasty thing just as an additional nice kind of behind the scenes thing where you don't have to listen to it if you don't want to.
Necro Neil, ever the salesman.
You don't have to listen to it. Listen to it 5 minutes and turn it off and go, oh yeah, I got the idea. But no, otherwise I'll just keep putting them out when I feel like putting them out. I mean, recently it's been every month. I don't know, see how long that goes for. That's about it. I'm not making like a movie. I ain't got a TV series, you know.
Though Netflix would put anything on these days, so they probably would.
Yeah, they probably would.
Probably be some sort of like hipster TV series about someone making a fanzine, and then like weird shenanigans would happen, like you'd get sucked into the movies and talking about it and making jokes. It'd be very Scott Pilgrim-y. I reckon it'd be like that.
Oh yeah, I'd be up for that.
Just let Netflix know. They're always greenlighting things.
Maybe someone else could play me though.
You should probably get like Jeff Goldblum to do it, I think.
Oh yeah.
That would be a trip.
Just Jeff Goldblum, put a fake moustache on him. Sorted.
I'd love it though, because it would be like, do you know when they remake British TV shows in America and you just like totally lost everything that made it good? I think your Yorkshireness is everything that makes it good. So yeah, I think that's the way Netflix should do it. They should ruin it that way.
Just have it where it's set in America.
Portland. Yeah, Portland. I think we should get it made. I guess the final question, I suppose, which I haven't asked, is why did you choose that name?
I think it was generally because of Evil Dead. That's all it was. Even before I actually knew it was a H.P. Lovecraft thing. I was thinking about just calling it Book of the Dead, or like Zine of the Dead or something. But I thought Necronomicon was kind of a more geeky kind of name, just related to Evil Dead. But I just did not know that there's been another fanzine called Necronomicon, there's been books called Necronomicon. I wish I would have called it something different. But it's just what it is now.
End. I love a good flat ending like that. I just wish I would have called it something different now. We should probably do like a little bit of a intro for the next one. So we could do like something crazy like next time on. So do you want to say it or do you want me to say it?
You say it.
Okay.
I bet you could do a better voice.
I've lost my nerve now. So next time. No, let me try that again. I might have to just like.
I'm just going to keep all this awkwardness in.
Yeah. So next time on the Necronomicon audio zine, we are going to be discussing the list.
There we go. That'll do.
Well, I guess we should sort of say what the list is.
No, just leave it like that.
So the list is a really significant part of the Necronomicon lore, and it's pretty much what shapes it these days. And it's definitely something I absolutely adore.
I think people know what the list is, though.
It's true.
Because it's like every introduction to Necronomicon is, the parents list, the parents list. So I think everyone knows what it is. If someone listens to this and does not know what the list is, they better fucking learn what the list is before they listen.
You should definitely keep that in. you should add that to the bit I've just done. And then you should add that if they don't know what the fucking list is. Get out.
You only get the private link to it if you can write me an essay about what the list is.
I think that's fair enough.